Hello and a very good evening. You're watching the news at 6 on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Here are the headlines. Opposition protests over disqualifications disrupt the first day of winter session in the Rajya Sabha. Chairman Naidu says issue not open for debate, asks members to discuss damage caused by Cyclone Oki instead. Union Cabinet approves draft law to make the practice of giving instant triple talaq illegal. The Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Marriage Bill will be applicable on instant triple talaq or talaq-e-bidat. Supreme Court bench extends Aadhaar linking deadline to March 31st, says that to open new bank accounts, applicants don't have to provide Aadhaar numbers but submit proof that they have applied for unique identification card. And in a far-reaching development, the US Federal Communications Commission votes to repeal rules that ensure free and open internet. Move expected to allow internet service providers to decide what content consumers can access. The winter session of Parliament commenced today. However, the day was marked with multiple adjournments in the Rajya Sabha as opposition protests continued. Both question hour and zero hour were adjourned.
On the first day of the winter session in Rajya Sabha, only official business could be conducted till lunch break due to disruptions. The chairman also announced his order disqualifying Sharad Yadav and Ali Anwar Ansari from the Rajya Sabha.
It was crystal clear that by their conduct and actions, speeches, both the respondents, Sri Sharad Yadavji and Sri Ali Ansari, has voluntarily given up their membership of the political party JDU, by which they were set up as candidates for the election to the Rajya Sabha from the state of Bihar and elected as such members.
The opposition immediately protested against the disqualifications.
वोट जो मांगा मां गठबंधन के नाम पे और मां गठबंधन को छोड़कर नीतीश कुमार जी और आप छोड़ के चले गए हैं, आपको सदस्यता से इस्तीफा देना चाहिए।
मैं जानना चाहता हूं, जो आपने रूलिंग दी, जिसको आपने नोटिफिकेशन में जारी कर दिया, वो रूलिंग एज ए वाइस प्रेसिडेंट दी, एज ए चेयरमैन दी या एज ए कोर्ट दी?
Chairman Naidu made it clear that the issue was not open for debate. He also asked the members to discuss the damage caused by the cyclone Oki instead.
This is a very important issue concerning the lives and properties of the people of Kerala, Coast and also Tamil Nadu. Please allow him to make his submission.
The disruptions led to the adjournment of zero hour. When the House reassembled at noon for question hour, Congress members began protesting against Prime Minister Narendra Modi's remarks against his predecessor, Dr. Manmohan Singh, after leader of opposition Ghulam Nabi Azad raised the issue. Ghulam Nabi Azad also demanded a discussion on the issue, but his demand was turned down by the chair.
Leader of the opposition को मैंने अनुमति दिया, विषय मेरा ध्यान में लाने के लिए उन्होंने लाया और मैंने अध्ययन किया पहले ही और डिसाइड किया उसको ये 267 के अंतर्गत क्वेश्चन और सस्पेंशन का अनुमति नहीं दिया.
In the face of relentless opposition protests, the House was adjourned once again till 2:30 p.m.
The House is adjourned to meet at 2:30 p.m. because non-official day members will have an opportunity to have discussion on those issues.
Earlier in the day, Rajya Sabha Chairman Venkaiah Naidu started the proceedings with obituary references to 9 former members of the Rajya Sabha and former Air Marshal Arjun Singh. With Panchanan Mishra, Bureau Report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, in the post-lunch session, the opposition insisted on an apology from the Prime Minister, leading to an uproar and adjournment of the House. The opposition leaders were protesting the Prime Minister's remarks made during the Gujarat campaign.
When the House met again in the afternoon, Samajwadi Party MP Naresh Agrawal raised objections over the affidavit filed by the government. In its affidavit submitted to the Supreme Court, the government has talked about setting up special courts to decide cases involving politicians as accused.
मेरी तो कहना है, श्रीमान पूरे देश में मैसेज किया कि हम लोग अपराधी हैं, MP MLA के लिए विशेष अदालत गठित की जा रही है। आतंकवादी 7-7 साल 10-10 साल जेलों में दामाद की तरह पाले जाते हैं, उनके लिए नहीं अदालत है।
अब सुनिए, Article 13 and Article 14, sir. This is force in the territory of India. This is Article 13 and 14 is equality before law. The state shall not deny to any person equality before the law or the equal protection of the laws within the territory of India. Now, this is the basic structure of the Indian Constitution. Sir, this is. Can the government go against the basic structure?
So, what is the point of order? Yes, what is the point of order? Tell me
why this government has sent this, taken this position. Sir, he's right in raising this. Sir,
several private members' bills were also introduced during the post-lunch session.
No, sir, please say no. I think the ayes have introduced.
The opposition once again protested the Prime Minister's remarks made during campaigning in Gujarat. Following this, the House was adjourned first for a while, then till Monday, December 18th.
House stands adjourned till 11 hours Monday on 18th December 2017.
With inputs from Navikram Singh, Bureau Report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And joining me for a chat right now to talk more about this is our correspondent Vishal Dahiya. Vishal, how was the first day of the winter session of Parliament?
Well, the first day, if at all you look at in terms of the transaction of business, was not at all the way the government would have wanted, or even the chair of the House would have wanted, because the Lok Sabha, though we all of us knew that it would be adjourned after paying obituary references to the members. One of them was the sitting member, and that is what happened. But in the upper house, there was a lot of disruption, not once, twice, thrice, but 4 times, which led to adjournments, repeated adjournments. And we saw that no legislative business, no private members' business, and no business during the question hour was also taken up. Clearly, the kind of stand which was taken by the opposition, Frank, is a clear indication that the opposition is in no mood to let go of the issues which it believes it can raise and corner the government with. 2 of them were raised by the opposition today itself. One was the disqualification of 2 members of the House, that is Sharad Yadav and Ali Anwar. The second was the remarks which were made by the BJP during the election campaign. So we can see that the agenda has been set by the opposition on the day 1 itself. Now we'll have to wait and watch as to how the entire thing proceeds from Monday onwards, because Monday is going to be a politically crucial day, both for the government and for the opposition as well. It will be a day when the results of the Gujarat elections will be announced, and the government has already made it clear that it is willing to go ahead and have a discussion on all issues, but the opposition will also have to walk that extra mile, ensure that House functions smoothly. So there are, as of now, I would say no common ground or no meeting ground between both sides. But next week there will be other political developments as well, and we have seen that sessions which have begun with a lot of disruptions have also seen very fruitful days ahead. So let's wait and watch as to what happens in the next week.
All right, Vishal Dahiya, we'll have to leave to that. Thank you so much for joining us there with those details. Well, Rajya Sabha chairman also announced a new panel of vice chairmen. The 6 members announced are Satyanarayan Jatiya, Tiruchi Siva, T.K. Rangarajan, Bhuvaneshwar Kalita, Baswaraj Patil and Sukhendu Shekhar Roy. Any one of the members of this panel may preside over the council in the absence of the chairman and the deputy chairman when so requested by the chairman or in his absence by the deputy chairman. The Lok Sabha was adjourned today after paying tributes to former and sitting members of the House. Earlier, the Prime Minister introduced new ministers from his cabinet to the lower house. Here are the details.
Lok Sabha proceedings were adjourned on the first day of the winter session after paying tributes to 3 sitting and 7 former members who passed during the intersession period.
अब यह सभा दिवंगत आत्माओं के सम्मान में कुछ देर मौन खड़ी रही.
Earlier, Sunil Kumar Jakhar took oath as Lok Sabha member. Jakhar was elected as Member of Parliament from Punjab's Gurdaspur constituency in October. The seat had fallen vacant after the death of film actor and BJP MP Vinod Khanna.
Honorable Prime Minister to introduce the minister.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi also introduced new ministers to the House. These included Dharmendra Pradhan, Piyush Goyal and Nirmala Sitharaman, who were elevated as ministers in the cabinet reshuffle in September.
Shri Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi, अल्पसंख्यक मामलों के मंत्री, श्री राजकुमार सिंह, पावर तथा न्यू एवं रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी मंत्रालयों के राज्य मंत्री का स्वतंत्र प्रभार, श्री हरदीप सिंह पुरी, हाउसिंग एंड अर्बन अफेयर्स राज्य मंत्री स्वतंत्र प्रभार।
माननीय सदस्यगण, मुझे सभा को सूचित करना है कि श्रीमती स्नेहलता श्रीवास्तव को 1 दिसंबर 2017 से
Lok Sabha Speaker Sumitra Mahajan also introduced the new Secretary General, Snehlata Srivastav, to the House. A former IAS officer, Srivastav took over on the 1st of December and is the first woman Secretary General of the Lok Sabha. Ravindra Singh Sheran's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, the Union Cabinet has cleared a bill that proposes to make triple talaq a criminal offence. According to reports, the government is hoping to get Parliament clearance for it during the winter session itself. The draft Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Marriage Bill was considered by the Union Cabinet. The bill attracts jail term of 3 years for the husband. Home Minister Rajnath Singh led a group of ministers to draft the bill. In a landmark ruling in August, the Supreme Court had said that practice of Muslim men uttering talaq 3 times for an instant divorce is unconstitutional. The proposal law will be applicable only on instant triple talaq or talaq-e-biddat, and will give power to the victim to approach a magistrate seeking subsistence allowance for herself and minor children. Well, Congress President Sonia Gandhi today sparked fresh speculation over her retirement from politics. Responding to a query on what role she will assume after Rahul Gandhi takes over the reins of the party, Sonia Gandhi said her role is to retire. Dismissing the speculation, the Congress clarified that she has retired as party president but not from politics. This comes as Rahul Gandhi is set to receive a formal certificate of being elected the Congress president. Sonia Gandhi became Congress president in 1998 and steered the 132-year-old party for 19 years. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu today inaugurated the 3-day World Conference Vishwa Ved Sammelan in New Delhi. Addressing the conference, he said that all major religions in the world have been inspired by the core spiritual values of Vedas. He also quoted examples from the 4 Vedas and said it offers solutions to various global problems. The Vice President said there is no place for casteism in Vedas.
We all must go back to Vedas. Try to understand what is there in Vedas. आदि काल से, वेद काल से, पुण्य काल से, पुराण काल से पूर्वजों ने जिया और दिया, विरासत में हमको मिला। ये धर्म, ये संस्कृति, ये जीवन पद्धति, इसको कायम रखना है और वेद पढ़ने से, उपनिषद पढ़ने से आपको और ज्ञान मिलेगा और समाज को मार्गदर्शन करने के लिए आपको पूरा विश्वास भी मिलेगा।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Friday paid tributes to Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel on his 67th death anniversary. In a Twitter message, the Prime Minister said, "We remember the great Sardar Patel on his Punya Tithi." The Prime Minister also added that every Indian is indebted to the Iron Man of India for his monumental service to the nation. West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee also remembered the country's first Home Minister. In a tweet, Banerjee said, "Solemnly remembering the Iron Man of India on his death anniversary." Well, the Supreme Court today extended the deadline for mandatory linking of Aadhaar with bank accounts and government welfare schemes till 31st March next year. The deadline of February 6th for linking Aadhaar with mobile services also stands extended up to March 31st. The court also ruled that for opening new bank accounts, an applicant will not be required to provide Aadhaar number to the bank. However, the applicant needs to show a proof to the bank that he or she has applied for the Aadhaar number. Deadlines for linking Aadhaar with existing PAN accounts, bank accounts and welfare schemes was already extended to 31st March by the government. Final hearings on the constitutional validity of the program are set to begin on January 17th. The government had earlier set a deadline of December 31st for Aadhaar linking.
So whichever system we have, unless we have proper verification, one, and unless you can secure that that information will not be misused either by government or by the agencies that have the data, unless we can secure that, it could be a hydra-headed monster, not only for the person, but for the government.
Right. Well, here's a quick look at what else is making news across the country and nationwide. The National Green Tribunal on Friday imposed a complete ban on plastic items like carry bags, plates and cutlery in towns located on the banks of the river Ganga like Haridwar and Rishikesh. The Green Panel also banned the sale, manufacture and storage of these items till Uttar Kashi. It also imposed 5,000 rupees fine for violating the order and said action will also be taken against the concerned officials. The Finance Ministry has hiked customs duty on some electronic items including television, mobile phone, projector and water heater to boost domestic manufacturing. A government notification said customs duty on television sets has been increased to 15%, while on monitors and projectors has been doubled to 20% for telephone or mobile. The duty has been raised to 15% and the duty on hairdressing instruments has been doubled to 20%. The Supreme Court on Friday dismissed social activist Teesta Setalwad's petition seeking to defreeze her bank accounts in the Gulbarg Society Fund embezzlement case. The move comes after Setalwad, her husband Javed Anand and their two NGOs, Sabrang Trust and the Citizens for Justice and Peace, had challenged the verdict of the Gujarat High Court. The Gujarat government had alleged that Setalwad had allegedly spent the NGO money meant for education for personal purposes. Pakistan's Maritime Security Force has arrested 43 Indian fishermen and seized 7 of their boats for allegedly fishing illegally in the country's territorial waters in the Arabian Sea. They will now be presented before a judicial magistrate who will most likely send them to judicial remand to jail. With this, the total number of arrests of Indian fishermen this year has gone up to over 400. Moving on to some international news now, the Federal Communications Commission in the US has decided to end net neutrality. The rules governing net neutrality have been in use since 2015, but after the vote, they will have no place now. Net neutrality essentially prevents internet service providers or ISPs from discriminating against websites on matters relating to speed and access to websites.
Voting along party lines, the U.S. Federal Communications Commission on Thursday repealed rules that ensure a free and open internet. The FCC voted 3-2 to repeal the rules. The approval of FCC Chairman Ajit Pai's proposal will allow internet service providers to decide what content consumers can access. Democrats, Hollywood and companies like Google and Facebook urged Pai to keep the Obama-era rules that bar service providers from blocking, slowing access to or charging more for certain content.
We're reversing the Obama-era FCC's unprecedented decision to apply Title II regulations to the Internet. I'm proud to help end this 2-year experiment with heavy-handed regulation, this massive regulatory overreach. Prior to the FCC's 2015 decision, consumers and innovators alike benefited from a free and open Internet. This was not because the government imposed utility-style regulation. It didn't. This was not because the FCC had a rule regulating Internet conduct. It had none. Instead, through Republican and Democratic administrations alike, including through the first 6 years of the Obama administration, the FCC abided by a 20-year bipartisan consensus that the government should not control or heavily regulate Internet access.
Consumer advocates and trade groups representing content providers have planned a legal challenge aimed at preserving those rules At least 3 enforcement chiefs in the US said they will lead a multi-state lawsuit to challenge the reversal.
Internet service providers could charge you content or charge you to actually access certain content, which would be much more like cable news. If you look at countries where net neutrality protections don't exist, for example, Portugal, that's actually what we've seen, is where these companies, internet service providers, are actually charging people to access certain content.
Consumers are unlikely to see immediate changes resulting from the rule change, but smaller startups worry the lack of restrictions could drive up costs or lead to their content being blocked. Bureau Report, Rajya TV.
Meanwhile, in repealing the landmark 2015 rules aimed at ensuring a free and open internet for one and all, the US Federal Communications Commission, or FCC, has sided with the argument that net neutrality aims to solve a problem that does not exist. Let's take a look now at what this means for the world, especially countries like India, where startups and small companies fear they will get a rough deal and will be at a big disadvantage.
Net neutrality in effect means that ISPs have to treat all websites equally, which means network providers can't charge more for access to certain websites. Further, they can't give access to any websites for free or even slow down the speed of other websites for applications. The Telecom Regulatory Authority of India has held that internet access is a public good that should be used for benefit of all. It considers internet an open platform, which means that its services can't be discriminatory. It has ruled that operators can't block, degrade or slow down internet traffic selectively or even get into tie-ups that discriminate traffic. It also mentions that terms licensing must detail bias in offering content. Logically, the demise of net neutrality in the US should have little or no impact on other countries, including India. But because web has more fluid borders, the move is expected to have ripple effect in other countries, including India eventually. Bureau Report, Rajya TV.
Let's now shift focus and bring you up to date with some news from the world of sports in Sportsbeat. Ace Indian shuttler PV Sindhu advanced to the knockout stage of the women's singles at the Dubai Super Series final badminton tournament with 2 wins in a row. On Thursday, she defeated Japan's Sayaka Sato 21-13, 21-12 to register her second straight win. Kidambi Srikanth, however, crashed out of the tournament after losing his second game against Taiwan's Chao Tien Chen. Sindhu will now take on Japan's Akane Yamaguchi in her next match. Legendary Australian cricketer Steve Waugh's son Austin Waugh has been included in the Australia's Under-19 World Cup squad. In 2016, Waugh hit an unbeaten 100 in the final of the Under-17 National Championships. Earlier this year, he represented Australia Under-19s in a one-day series against Sri Lanka. The Under-19 Cup will start from January 13th in New Zealand. Australia are slotted in Group B and will start their campaign against India on January 14th. Manchester City created history by becoming the first ever team to register 15 wins in a row in a single Premier League season. City reached the milestone by defeating Swansea City 4-0. David Silva scored the opener in the 27th minute to make it 1-0 for Manchester City, while Kevin De Bruyne scored the second goal for his side in the 34th minute to stretch the lead to 2-0. Silva again struck a goal in the 52nd minute and added his second goal in the tally. Well, that's it on this newscast, but do stay tuned for the big picture coming up on the other side of this short break.